So you wanted to learn more about leadership, right? Especially in the tech world. And let me tell you, you gave us some great material to work with for this deep dive.
Yeah.
We have an interview with Saby Waraich. He's the CIO and CISO of Clackamas Community College. And he's a real thought leader on leadership. I mean, the guy gave a keynote address right after the governor of Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah, no kidding. We've gone through it all. The interview, the keynote,
Yeah.
his background. And we're here to give you the need-to-know info.
It is fascinating, how Saby combines his deep technical experience with a real passion for people and leadership development.
Absolutely.
He's a first-generation immigrant from India, started as a software developer, and really, climbed the ladder. That journey gives him such a unique perspective.
It really does. So today, we're going to unpack what makes a leader stand out, especially in the crazy world of tech, right?
Yeah.
How can you build influence and resilience, even when everything feels chaotic? And wait till you hear the story about how Saby's 10-year-old daughter helped him with a major project.
Seriously. Oh, I can't wait.
You won't believe this.
I'm ready to dive in. One of the first things that struck me was Saby's purple cow concept. It's just such a clever and memorable way to think about leadership.
It really is, right? I remember when I first heard it, I was like, purple cow, what's that all about?
Yeah.
But it really makes you think. So for our listener, can you break down what that purple cow really means in the context of leadership?
Saby's point is that in any field, especially one as competitive as tech, you need to stand out. Think of it this way. If you're just another cow in a herd, you're lost in the crowd, right?
Right.
But if you're a purple cow, well, everyone notices the purple cow. That's what you need as a leader, to be memorable, to make an impact.
Makes sense. But I'm curious. I can see how being that purple cow could be great for getting noticed. But could it ever be too much? Is there a risk of coming across as, I don't know, inauthentic or even arrogant?
That's a great question. Saby would say it's about finding the right balance. It's not about being flashy or loud just for the sake of it. The purple cow is about being authentically you, but amplified. It's about taking your unique strengths and letting them shine through.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? Become that purple cow?
Saby breaks it down with the purple cow acronym.
Okay.
And this is where it gets really actionable. For example, P stands for positive mindset.
Okay.
It's about focusing on solutions, believing in yourself, and bringing that positive energy to your team. You could even try starting each day with a gratitude practice or a positive affirmation, just small steps to build that mindset muscle.
See, I love that. You're already giving our listeners some concrete things they can try right now. What about the other letters?
U is for understanding your strengths.
Okay.
What are you naturally good at? What are you passionate about? These are the areas where you can really shine. Take some time to reflect on your past successes and the skills you use to achieve them. Those are clues to your purple cow potential.
That's a great point. We often get so caught up in what we need to improve that we forget to acknowledge and leverage what we're already good at. It's like, hey, I'm actually pretty awesome at this.
Exactly. And building on that, R stands for relationships. Leaders aren't islands, right?
Right.
They build strong connections with their teams, with mentors, with colleagues. Think about who you admire and why. Reach out to them, even just for a virtual coffee chat. You'd be surprised how open people are to sharing their experiences.
Yeah, relationships are key, especially in a field as collaborative as tech.
Yeah.
And speaking of relationships, Saby had some surprising advice for building influence, right?
He did. He recommended joining nonprofit organizations. And at first I was like, wait, how does that connect to leadership in tech?
Me too. But then he explained his reasoning.
Yeah.
And it totally clicked. It's actually brilliant.
Because leading volunteers with no formal authority forces you to develop influence in a different way. You can't just tell people what to do. You have to inspire them, motivate them, build consensus. It's like a leadership boot camp in the real world.
And think about the network you build in those settings. You're connecting with people from all walks of life with diverse skill sets and experiences. It could open up all sorts of unexpected opportunities.
It's like a hidden leadership development track. You're building your purple cow muscles without even realizing it.
So for our listener, here's a little challenge. Think about your own goals, both professional and personal. Could volunteer leadership be the missing piece? It's definitely worth considering.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about how Saby handles disruptive tech changes, which are pretty much constant these days, right?
Yeah.
He's developed something called the VIRSA framework, which I found really insightful.
Okay, VIRSA. It sounds kind of like a superhero name, right?
It does.
But it's actually a really practical framework. You're deep in this world. Break it down for us. What's VIRSA all about?
All about managing change smoothly. When implementing new tech, Saby's big point is that it's not just about the technology itself, but about the people. Who will be using it? If you ignore the human element, you're setting yourself up for resistance and headaches.
That makes total sense. Tech changes can be so disruptive.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely felt that stress in my own work. So walk us through this VIRSA framework. How does it actually work?
The V stands for vision.
Okay.
And this is where a lot of organizations trip up. It's not enough to just say, hey, we're getting a new system. You have to paint a clear picture of why this change is happening, what problems it's solving, and what the benefits will be, not just for the company, but for the individuals using it.
So instead of just focusing on the technical specs, you're connecting it to a bigger purpose, right?
Exactly. And you're getting people excited about that purpose. Then comes E, early wins.
Okay.
Find ways to demonstrate the value of the new technology quickly. Small victories create momentum and build confidence.
It's like those before and after photos. But for tech implementations, you're showing people tangible proof that this change is actually making things better. What's next?
R is for resources.
Okay.
Do people have the tools, training, and support they need to use the new technology effectively? This could mean investing in user-friendly software, providing comprehensive training programs, or even setting up a dedicated support team to answer questions and troubleshoot issues.
It's about setting people up for success.
Right.
Not just throwing them in the deep end and expecting them to figure it out on their own.
Right.
Makes a huge difference. Okay, what about S?
S stands for skills.
Okay.
This builds on the resources point. Are you investing in developing the specific skills people need to thrive with this new tech? Maybe it's offering workshops, online tutorials, or even mentoring programs.
I could see how that would address a lot of the anxiety that comes with tech changes. People feel empowered when they have the skills to master something new. It's not just about learning the tech, it's about building confidence.
Yeah.
And that brings us to A.
A is for action plan.
Okay.
Having a clear step-by-step roadmap for implementation keeps everyone on the same page and minimizes confusion. It also helps to break down the change into manageable chunks, making it feel less overwhelming.
And I bet having that plan also helps with accountability. Everyone knows what their role is and what deadlines need to be met. Now, thinking back to the source material, Saby shared a pretty intense story about a project that really tested his resilience. Can you remind our listener about that?
Oh, yes. This is where Saby's 10-year-old daughter comes in.
Oh, yeah.
He'd been assigned to lead the implementation of a new permit system for the city of Portland. But this wasn't just any project. It had a history. It had been dragging on for 10 years, and multiple project managers had been either fired or reassigned because of its complexity.
Wow, talk about a high-pressure situation. I can imagine feeling intimidated, even overwhelmed if I were in his shoes.
Yeah.
How did he even approach something like that?
Well, initially he was terrified. He was looking for any excuse to get out of leading the project. But then something amazing happened. He came home from work completely stressed out, and his 10-year-old daughter, sensing his anxiety, sent him an email.
An email from his 10-year-old. What did it say?
She basically laid out a 4-step plan for him.
Wow.
She told him to focus on building relationships with the stakeholders, truly understanding their concerns, and finding common ground. Her last piece of advice was, be confident and don't give up.
I mean, how amazing is that? A 10-year-old leadership coach.
Oh.
But seriously, I love the simplicity of her advice. It gets to the heart of what real leadership is about. Connecting with people, understanding their needs, and having the confidence to persevere even when things get tough.
And for Saby, his daughter's email was a turning point. It reminded him of his why, why he took on this challenging project in the first place. It wasn't just about the technology. It was about making a positive impact on the city and its residents.
It gave him that sense of purpose, that driving force to push through the challenges.
Exactly. And it speaks to the importance of resilience, which is another key theme in Saby's leadership philosophy. He actually practices specific techniques to build his resilience.
Like the cold shower challenge? I have to admit, that one's a little extreme for me. But the idea is fascinating. Can you explain it?
So Saby hates cold showers, absolutely hates them.
Okay.
But he forces himself to take them regularly as a way to train his mind and body to overcome discomfort.
So it's like intentionally pushing his comfort zone to build mental toughness.
Exactly. He believes that by challenging himself in small ways, He's better equipped to handle bigger challenges when they inevitably arise. He also does things like parking far away from his destination to force himself to walk further, just to push past that initial resistance.
So finding those little opportunities in everyday life to step outside that comfort zone, right, it
Yeah.
makes you think, what are some things our listener could try? They
Yeah.
might not be quite so chilly.
Well, it could be as simple as taking on a new project at work that stretches your skills, or finally starting that hobby you've been putting off. It's about pushing past that initial, I don't want to do this feeling, and proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you think.
I love that. It's like those small victories build up over time
Hmm.
and create this momentum that carries over into other areas of your life. It's about building confidence
Yeah.
and a can-do attitude.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. We often think of resilience as this big heroic quality, but it really starts with those small everyday choices. It's about showing up for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
even when it's uncomfortable.
Exactly. And that builds on what we were discussing earlier about Sabayi's purple cow concept. Remember the L?
L was for leave a legacy.
Mm.
That was such a powerful idea. It's not just about achieving success for yourself,
Yeah.
but about making a lasting impact.
Mm.
Right.
Right. It's about asking yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? And it doesn't have to be some grand world-changing thing. It could be about mentoring others, building a strong team culture,
Right.
or simply being known for your integrity and work ethic.
It's about making a positive contribution to the world,
Mm.
however you define that. And, you know, when you think about Sadiai's own journey,
Mhm.
from a software developer seeking stability to a CIO and global thought leader, it's clear that he's leaving a legacy.
Absolutely. He's not just talking about leadership, he's living it. And what's so inspiring is that he's constantly evolving, pushing himself to grow, and sharing his knowledge with others. He's a great example of what's possible. When you combine technical expertise with a passion for people and a commitment to making a
He's
difference.
definitely walking the walk. And one of the things that really struck me was his emphasis on giving back and building community,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a field that can sometimes feel, well, a little cutthroat.
Mm-hmm. He's a big believer in mentorship and actively participates in several professional organizations. He sees it as a way to pay it forward,
Yeah.
to help others navigate the challenges of the tech world. And he stresses that everyone has something valuable to offer, regardless of their experience level.
It's about creating a more supportive and collaborative ecosystem, right? Instead of seeing each other as competition, we're all in this together, learning from each other's successes and failures.
Exactly. And it creates this ripple effect. When you help someone else, you're not just impacting their life, you're potentially impacting the lives of everyone they touch.
That's such a powerful thought. It reminds me of something Sabi said about the importance of lifelong learning. He's constantly reading, attending conferences, seeking out new knowledge. It's like he's never satisfied with just staying in his comfort zone.
He's a true believer in the growth mindset, that idea that you can always learn and improve, no matter where you are in your career. And that's so important in the tech industry, which is constantly evolving.
If you're not learning, you're falling behind. It's like you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, with constantly pushing yourself to grow. And Sabia really embodies that.
He does. And he encourages others to do the same. He's not afraid to admit his own struggles or to share the lessons he's learned along the way. And that's what makes him such an authentic and relatable leader. He's not some distant figure on a pedestal. He's someone who's been in the trenches, who's made mistakes, and who's come out stronger on the other side.
I think that's incredibly inspiring,
Thanks, Daniel.
especially for people who are just starting out in their careers
Yeah.
or who might feel intimidated by the tech world. It's like, hey, even the most successful leaders have faced challenges. They've had moments of doubt, but they kept going.
And that's the key, isn't it? It's not about being perfect. It's about embracing the journey, learning from your experiences, and never giving up on your potential. And I think that's where Sabay's message really resonates. It's not just about achieving success in the traditional sense. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, both personally and professionally.
And that's what this purple cow idea is all about, right? It's about finding your unique strengths, letting them shine, and using them to make a positive impact on the world. It's about having the courage to be different, to stand out from the crowd, and to leave your mark.
And it's about recognizing that leadership isn't just for a select few. It's a choice we all make every day. It's about how we show up in our work, in our relationships, and in our communities.
So for our listener, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's the big question. What's your purple cow? What are those unique qualities that make you stand out? What's your why? That driving force that motivates you to make a difference.
And what's one small step you can take today, right now, to embrace your purple cow potential. Maybe it's reaching out to a mentor, volunteering for a new project, or simply taking a few minutes to reflect on your strengths and how you can use them to make a positive impact.
Remember Sabi's key message. Change your thoughts, change your reality. Start small, but start today.
We'd love to hear about your journey. Share your purple cow moments,
Yeah.
your resilience building techniques, anything that's resonating with you. We're all on this leadership path together, learning and growing along the way.
Until next time. Keep learning, keep being awesome, Paddle, and don't be afraid to be the purple cow in your own field.